it's legal, so you just have to like pay your license fee. I love the community here. I felt really like held by my community of boaters in really difficult times.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Alternative House channel. Today I'm in England and I met Emily, and she has been living already 7 years on her widebeam boat, and today she's gonna give us a tour and tell a bit more about it.
Hey! Yeah, this is my boat.
How long is it?
It is, well, it's 60 foot, which is, or 57 foot, depending on who you ask, which is like 17.6 meters.
Yeah.
By 12 foot wide, which is maybe 3.5 meters wide.
So it's a big house.
It's a big house. Yeah, it's not a tiny house, it's a big house. Big enough.
Yeah. And how old is it?
It was built in 2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got it secondhand?
Yeah. So when I got it, it was like 7 years old. It was actually built for a German woman, and then somebody else got it for 2 years, and then me.
Okay.
So yeah, it's like 14 years old now. Yeah. Which is cool. And when I bought it, it was black, red, and white. And it's mid paint job. So I did the roof in two-tone pink and the sides in teal and yellow. And then you can still see like the black and red down the bottom and on the front. So I'm mid reno.
So it was already built, and you rebuilt it, or you just kept it as it was?
I've mostly kept it as it is, and then like money dependent worked on bits as it's popped up. So I've got a new inverter. I upgraded the solar. Can't remember. I put a fridge in, I changed the oven. So I've done like lots of upgrading, but it's generally as it started. I would love to do a whole renovation, but life has not allowed me to do that yet. I've got 2 300-watt solar panels on the roof. My energy usage is pretty low, so I don't really need that much. It's enough for me. But yeah, so I've got 2 which I've put on top of roof boxes, so I can store my wood, my coal, my fire pit, anything like that in there, deck chairs and things like that. And then on the front, I actually excitingly have what's called a water freedom unit. So you see this hose that comes over the front? It filters the canal water.
Okay.
So I can drink from the canal. So I have one system which fills the tank, and that's for showering, brushing your teeth, whatever. And then I have a separate one which makes it drinkable.
Okay, so you have 200 liters that you refill all the time?
I have a 500-liter tank,
okay.
But it's better to do like more regular 200-liter fills rather than filling it all the way, because then the water isn't standing still for so long.
And how is it in winter when it's frozen?
I haven't ever had a problem.
Okay.
The tank is okay. Obviously, you wouldn't leave the tank almost empty in winter, because then if it's like this, it will freeze. And if I was leaving the boat, then I would just make sure that my water pump is off and that all the water is drained out of the pipes inside, because that's where the trouble happens. I don't leave it that much in the winter, and it doesn't get that cold here. Like sometimes we do get, the canal freezes over. 2 years ago, it froze over twice for like 10 days at a time. So yeah, you've obviously but you don't really leave your boat when it's like that, because your plants die, and yeah, you just want to keep it warm and keep the damp out.
Right.
So I'm kind of knuckle down, keeping the fire in.
Yeah.
See how much I move. I didn't tie off very well this time.
And about solar panels, I have 600 watt and how big battery? And is it gel battery?
So I've got 3 AGMs, which are like 120 each.
Yeah.
And it's kind of enough. I do have a washing machine on this boat, but that isn't enough for me to run that washing machine, even with my engine running. And I don't have a generator. I'm only one person, so I try and keep everything as minimal as possible. But I am in the period of like deciding I need to replace those batteries. Do I replace them with AGM or do I replace them with lithium? This is the big question.
Yeah.
That I'm not really sure about. I'm going to make it through the summer. I'm fine for the summer.
Well, lithium is better, but it's more expensive, so.
Yeah, exactly. But also you really do have to like top it up by a generator or get more solar. So it's just a big investment for me. Which, maybe in like September, October, I'll be in a better financial position to think about what that is. And for the summer with loads of solar, I don't need to worry too much. I need to clean those panels. They'll be better then. Also, I'm in a really shady spot right now. I have what's called a GANGPLANK. So I live on the Kennet Avon, which a lot of boaters call like the wild, wild west. It's here you can see I have hard standing. I've been painting the side of the boat, so I'm like butted up on the hard standing. But usually on this canal, you use a plank to get on and off your boat.
Okay.
So I have a plank on the roof, which is generally in use, and I have a barge pole, which is for if you get stuck or anything, you can push off. Which obviously, being a professional boat mover, I never get stuck. But yeah, that does come in useful as well. I also have something called a boat hook, which is like you can grab stuff out of the water or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you do professionally, you help people
Yeah,
to
so
move and teach them?
I move boats around the system for people, and I teach people how to cruise their boats. So if somebody's just bought a boat for the first time, moved on board, and they just are like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, I spend a day with them and I teach people.
Okay,
So,
that's
yeah.
cool.
I kind of, when I started out, I came from like my dad had a boat. My dad died. I was in the position where I could buy a boat, and it was like he was always on at me to live on a boat, live on a boat, live on a boat. So it kind of felt like this full circle thing. But I did pay somebody to teach me, and I was like, the river was on Orange, and it was a really hard day, and I didn't learn that much. And the boat, we crashed the boat, and it was just like a horrible experience for the beginning of my boating life. And so I was really anxious when I started cruising. Like the first time that I cruised my boat completely on my own was 6 months after I got my boat, and I cruise my boat every 2 weeks, so that's quite a long time. But yeah, so it was like 6 months, and I literally just stood at the tiller and cried because I was like, I'm so scared that I'm just going to hit something else. And obviously now I've like totally worked through that. I'm very confident, like, and I cruise all sorts of boats, all different types of boats all around the country. But I understand that like anxious when people start to get anxious about it. So I try and support people to make sure that they're like confident and can do what they want to do.
That's cool.
Trolleys are very important when you're on a boat because you're often like walking up and down the towpath. So I've got a wheelbarrow, which my bike is currently locked to. I've got a bike trailer, and then I also have like a sack trolley that folds up that's inside, which is really good for coal and things like that in the winter.
Yeah.
Come on then, you.
And this is the front porch?
Well, this is actually the back of the boat.
Okay.
But it is my front door. So it is the door that I use to go. It's called the stern. The back of the boat is called the stern, and the front of the boat is called the bow. So this is the stern, but this is how I access my boat.
Yeah, and you have engine there below.
Yeah, engine is under here, batteries, and a calorifier, which is how I heat hot water. So I have like a 75 litre, basically an immersion tank. So when I run the engine, it heats the water. So then I can have hot water in my taps. I don't have like instant hot water coming off the gas. And I do have like natural gas bottles here, which are for my cooker.
Okay, so to have warm water, you have to, if you run your engine, that's it.
Well, I have something called a Webasto heater, which is a diesel heater, which I should be able to use and should be able to heat my water. But in 7 years, I have never made it work. I mean, I've spent quite a lot of time and money trying to get it to work, but yeah, it's like so minimal, and I've just given up. So this year I put a new fire in, and I just use that to heat it. And I would like to put in gas instant hot water. But also, you know, I live like this life. It's not like I'm showering every day or anything. So sometimes I just go down to the river and have a swim for a wash. It's like proper boat life, isn't it? This is where I come in, straight into my kitchen. So it used to have like a small oven and fridge there. I'm mid-reno again, but I took those out and I put a full-size oven in here and a 12-volt fridge here, which has a little freezer. Yeah, and it is what it is. It does what it says on the tin. It's a nice kitchen.
It's very spacious.
Yeah, like it is spacious.
So huge table.
Ramadan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got this. I've got some stools, so if I have people around, I can sit around here. I can play board games, which I quite like to play. Yeah, and then I mean that's it really. It is. It just is. It's nice. It's a nice space to be.
So in winter you had to turn off fridge, and
this winter, last winter when my batteries were in good condition, I only had to turn it off for like December and January. But this year I had to turn it off from end of October through to actually now. Like March.
Yeah.
So Yeah, but it is 12 volt and it's super low in its energy. It, you know, it uses hardly any and it's fine. It's got a little freezer in it as well, which is really nice. But yeah, by next winter I'll be wall off. All my electrics are in here, which is like the cupboard of doom. So I have my inverter, I've got all my fuse board, I've got a header tank which feeds the Webasto system, which doesn't work. And that's about it in there. Oh, solar controller and stuff like that.
Off-grid system.
Yeah, that's my off-grid system. Which every time I've replaced something on the boat, I mean, I've not had loads of money as I've lived over the last 7 years, but every time I've replaced something, I've replaced it to the best that I can. So when the inverter went, I replaced it with the Victron inverter. When, you know, so I kind of just have been doing it bit by bit and then it's piecing all together and it works. And this is my living room. I have my bar here. I'm from Ireland and I live in England. And after Brexit, we get duty free. So every time I go home, I buy a duty-free bottle of booze. And then I don't actually drink spirits, but whenever anybody comes around, they can have some. And yeah, oh, and I'm an artist and a lot of people I know are artists. So I collect art. So you can see there's a lot of art on the wall, some of which is mine, some of which is my family's, and some of which I've bought as I've been around the world or whatever. And also I love furniture. So yeah, like I say, my father was an interior designer. My mother and father had an interior design business. So I have lots of pieces of furniture. And that was one of the main reasons for buying a bigger boat was like, I really want to have a home that I can have my art on the walls and nice furniture. Those are like super important to me. So yeah, so I've got like these beautiful chairs that I got for my dad, this gorgeous table. Yeah, this painting I did when I was 9 years old. I won a painting competition with that.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, which my parents framed really nicely and then I grabbed back when I got this space. This year I put in a new fire, which is this amazing, it's an ecozy Panasonic trad. It's 5 kilowatt, between 5 kilowatt and 8 kilowatt, but it's so warm. It's mental and I love it. It's literally changed my life. My last one was like one of those fires that's just designed for somebody's like, you know, shepherd's hut at the back of the garden, because whoever bought it first, it was all style over substance. But this one just kicks out the heat. I've had like a really bougie winter, really warm, really happy. Then we're going to go through to my corridor, which is a very luxury thing to have on a boat.
And here you have another old piece of furniture.
Yeah, not that old, but yeah, it is just a bureau is a great thing because it's really narrow and then you can just shove everything in there and hide it away. But yeah, so that's quite handy. And I've got a spare room, a little room for people to stay. So it's just got a single bed.
Yeah, guest room.
Yeah, guest room. And
there's a desk.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to change that into more of an officey space with a bed. That's secondary, but we'll get there. My sofa is also a double sofa bed, so I can have lots of people staying. I got a bathroom, and people are always interested in a bathroom. I've got a compost loo. I started out with a pump out loo, which is where you've got a big tank under the spare bed and then you cruise and you pump it out. But I changed it over to a compost loo, which is great. It's not that clean. I use coconut core and sawdust, and then I compost them. They've got boxes on the back deck, which I stir and compost it all on the boat and then bury it in the woods. Yeah, this is it really. My shower is fine. The sink is
washing
fine.
Machine.
I have got a washing machine that I don't use.
Yeah.
I've got unlimited water now because of my water filtration system, which is Water Freedom UK, but I don't have enough batteries. Batteries, the story of my life. I don't have enough batteries, but we'll get there. I got that free off Free Cycle. Another nice piece of furniture that I picked up on the side of the street, which is nice and thin and fits in nicely. Do a bit of tidying as we go. And then yeah, this is my bedroom. I've got a king size bed, which feels very luxury. And this is my water freedom unit. So this is the filter system. Yeah. So it runs off 240. So I've got to have my inverter on to run it. And as I said, it's a 20-minute cycle.
What would you say are the minimum monthly cost or yearly costs to live in a boat?
How long is a piece of string? So my outgoings per month are about £450 for like everything.
Yeah.
So that's like my car insurance,
Okay.
my phone, my internet, my license.
Yeah.
That's like just my base level of like what I have to put into my account every month to go out.
Yeah.
And that really is like, oh, like a bit of debt recovery, just 50 quid a month. Like it's things like that, you know. I pay for a storage unit. So that's all of that stuff. And then obviously in the winter, it does become more expensive. So coal, maybe it's like £150 a month I probably spend on like heating the boat in the winter.
With diesel.
Diesel, I just kind of spend about £400 a year.
You heat with gas?
I heat, no,
just
I don't.
the wood?
I heat with fire and coal, with wood and coal.
Okay.
So in the winter, I probably spend 150 a month on that.
Yeah.
And then I fill the tank with diesel I probably spend between £300 and £400 a year on diesel.
Okay. But so you have only the fireplace, the wood stove, and does the heat reach this room in winter?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Okay.
If you let it go out, like in the winter, you just have to keep it going the whole time.
Yeah.
I have woken up and like this is like frozen on the inside and this is frozen on the inside. Having this new fire has made a huge difference. It's really powerful, and I just put loads of coal in overnight and then it does keep it hot. But let's say in the winter, if you go away for a few days, in actual fact, it used to be my last fire was so bad I wouldn't come home at night. I would have to come home in the daytime, light the fire, go for a walk, and then come back because it would be so cold.
Yeah.
But this fire is really good. So actually I can sit in front of it and warm myself up. I can feel the heat from it.
Yeah.
And then, it does come through to here. Yeah. I'm a hardy woman. I got hot water bottles, couple of duvets. I'm fine.
Yeah.
And I got a dog. He's a great hot water bottle. She sleeps under there with me.
Yeah. All right, thanks for watching. It's interesting to see how many different alternative living possibilities there are, boats, tiny houses, and you name it. Let us know, what do you think about wide beam boats? Would you live on one, or if not, then why not? The links for social media from Emily will be in the description below, and see you the next one. Cheers.
Bye.